What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and today we are going to do a little recap of our recent matches at the BESTRONG ARMFEST 101. Is that what he called it?
You nailed it, yeah.
Yes, wow.
I would have totally forgotten.
Yeah. But either way, it was Umesh from BESTRONG Arm Wrestling, link down in the description. Another great channel based here in Toronto, and he's helped us out with a lot of our events, and this is the first big event that he's thrown, and it was really big. There were actually 3 huge matches that got canceled, and it was still like the biggest event that we've had in Canada since COVID has happened. So he did a great job. Obviously, like any event, things go wrong, but it's how you deal with that shit that separates the men from the boys, and he did an awesome job dealing with all the unexpected occurrences,
Yeah,
like
he did amazing.
Evan breaking the fucking table again.
I think he's the common denominator, right?
Yeah.
Not the tables, because there's 2 different tables, right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so it was a great event. You won, I lost. So we've got different sides of the story to tell and different outcomes. But let's start with your match.
Yeah.
Going over it.
Yeah, so I was the second super match, so I was kind of like right off the bat. I knew where I was coming in. It was against Evan Keller, who I've only pulled once before in practice, and I don't really press in practice a lot, so we're top rolling, hooking, and I felt like I kind of got the edge over him in that situation. But it was balanced enough that he thought he would have a chance against me in a match. So when he asked me for the match, I agreed. And
yeah, so he called you out.
He called me out, yeah, and I was like, hey, Umesh, can we do it at your event? And Umesh was cool with that, so going into the match, I didn't know if he knew that I would just press him because that's what I do all the time, but he knew. I feel like it's not a surprise anymore. People know that that's my ace and I'm going to go in for a press. So
yeah,
when I got up to the table with Evan, he was just all like trying to crowd the center and just own this and keep me outside my shoulder, which is not something that I haven't seen before. Like it's what a lot of people try to do against me, and when they do that, I just don't fight it. I'll let them take me over here, and I'll tell the ref, hey, push me off center. And then he'll bring us back here. He'll start loading again, and I'll just give it up. Because I'm totally cool with that no load in the setup, because if there's no load, I can be so much more explosive when I'm going into my press.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. He was trying to load so much, I kept giving it up to the point where he had to stop loading. So we were both no loading in the center, and when the go happened, I'm just that much faster than him to get to my spot. And once I get here, it's game over.
Yeah, I think it was at the PAL event when you were pulling with Bill, right, Cameron?
Yeah.
And you top rolled with him a bit, you did a little bit of hooking, and then you pressed him, and he was like, why the fuck would you do anything else but that?
Yeah.
And that's definitely what you showed in that match. And like you said, it's like once you're able to control the setup enough that once you get your spot, once you're there, I don't think there's many people or anybody in your weight class or category that could let you get there and then just hold it.
Yeah.
And so it was a great job getting to that spot. And then adjustment wise, did he adjust? Because the one round you did go top roll, and then you kind of own that top roll, so he started to change it up a bit.
Yeah, round 2, I think it was my mistake. I set up for a press again, but I forgot to load back pressure. So when I went in for the press, he was able to cut and drag me back and stop me, and I actually came off the pad, an elbow foul.
Oh yeah.
So then Miguel's in my corner, and he's like, "Hey, don't forget to load back." So like kudos to him for spotting that, because then I started loading back, and he started loading back with me. So I was like, "Okay, I'll try the top roll." So I fought up high with him. When the go happened, I was able to own the top of his hand, and he buckled underneath. And then he's like talking shit to me, like, you're not getting out of this, you're not getting out of this. I forget, like, I don't know why he said that, because he was underneath my hand. I was the one holding onto him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just stayed calm and composed. I knew I had to hit to the side before I could get my shoulder behind it and flop.
Yeah.
So I just timed that as good as I could, hit to the side, flop to press him. And it was definitely very close, like, whether he slipped out before the pin or whether I pinned him before he slipped out.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be all slips go to straps, which is not the way it's normally called in Canada. So sometimes the refs, especially that have been calling Canadian or like Ontario arm wrestling matches for so long, obviously they might mess that up a little bit when they're close to the pad like that, or close calls.
But yeah, it was definitely super close to the pin pad anyway, and I got the pin, and I'm not going to complain.
Yeah,
so
of course not.
I took the pin, and then round 3, it was just like round one, except a whole lot easier. Like he stopped fighting this, so he was just dead stop in the center, like almost no load again, and I got
I feel like round three, like once he had adjusted and then you had figured out what to do and he didn't win the top roll game, then maybe by round three he gets up to the table and he's a little like in his head, like not exactly sure where to go with it. So then you just, again, with your move and where you're trying to get to, it's that like literal like split second, like thousandths of a second of an edge that you need. And then once that train is rolling, it's not stopping. So,
exactly. Yeah. So he has to make that split second correction to get me out of there, or it's over. And
or do something in the setup that is gonna throw you off. But it's so it's interesting enough because the way you won your match and like the setup and the ways that Evan lost it, at least especially in the first round, was very similar to how my match went, except the other way around, where I was the one losing and Ian was the one with the experience, understanding how to control the setup to get rid of that load in the center. So my game plan going in for Ian, especially based on having talked to Porkchop and talked to Ian after Porkchop's match with Ian last summer, Ian made the point that Porkchop, was able to control the center and pushed him off center a bit, and that really threw him off because usually that's where he comes in and just kind of owns that spot, and then to get pushed off a little bit kind of threw him off. So when I knew I had the match and when I was getting ready for it, I just really wanted to focus on my internal rotation strength, my elbow integrity, my bicep strength, and just felt like if I could control that spot enough, I could, create a slip and get to the strap and get where I wanted. And he said when we got to the setup that's what he felt. He felt that I felt super strong and super connected in the center and pushing to the side that way. So the exact same thing you said, as soon as he felt like he's either not going to win it or he doesn't want to spend any energy fighting for it because it's, kind of don't fight a losing battle. Yep. He played that card perfectly and gave that up enough that we had a no load set, which I kind of felt comfortable with because feel that I'm relatively explosive as well, and I thought without the load I would be able to hit where I wanted as quickly as well. But obviously, as you noted later, there are other ways I could have loaded that might have given me a little bit better of a chance. But without that load in the center, he was able to explode hard and make me feel comfortable enough that I hit straight back and just kind of fell right into that trap, which was one of the ways I knew that this match could end up going, which I was really trying to avoid and trying to figure out a way to deal with, which again, you learn so much more from your losses. So I know exactly what I need to work on. I know not saying that these are excuses, like things that if I had it done, I would have won, but definitely need to cut first in that kind of a situation. And just as we've talked about it, breaking it down more, for me, setting up a low hand, dragging back and pulling into the guy's fingers, it just doesn't feel comfortable. But if I can protect that a little bit in the setup so that when I cut really hard, if they do drive that way, I end up with that in a better position because I protected it from the start. That's going to be a more effective way for me to kind of set up for that, where before this match, I was not able to figure out how to do that or what that was. And then also maybe because there was no necessity, because I felt like, well, I can post so hard and I can hit high into the side hard enough that it'll probably work. Which in round one, it's a fraction of an inch there maybe that I may have gotten out, I may not have. Again, if it's all slips go to straps, maybe it should have been a little bit more buried than that. But either way, he got the call, and if we had got to the straps, I don't know that, and I don't think it would have changed the game. He did agree to pull afterwards, right after the event was done, which was about 10 minutes after our match, because we were the second to last match in the strap, and we just set up the strap, and I just went out to my kings, and it was a little sticky, but he worked through it pretty quickly and was definitely feeling extremely strong. He did note that he had taken this match super, super seriously, which was awesome, and one of the things I really wanted. If I was gonna lose to him, I obviously wanted to lose to the best version of him that I could, and that's definitely, he came in feeling really strong, and everybody that I spoke to said how hard he'd been training, so that was definitely good to note. And like I said, you learn a lot more from the losses, so just knowing how much more I need to work on, not just strengthening this, but using it and initiating with it in the beginning. And I remember Bill Cameron saying that a long time ago, and it's something that I've preached to people many, many times, is like, take the pronation first. And for whatever reason, at least especially in that first round, I got so caught up trying to get out of his hand and hitting to the side and high, but then getting caught because he hit a little bit faster than I did. So now I'm just trying to like bail and roll out of the back, where if I had just been cupping really, really hard, it might have led me into a better position for that. And then the other thing is just making adjustments. I don't know how much my corner guys were talking to me, and maybe I just wasn't hearing what was going on, but being more aware of the moment and not so much in my head, which I had other reasons of being in my head a little bit, but those aren't excuses. Like, I was ready, I was there as much as I could have been there, but looking back on it, I didn't really make any adjustments. Part of that might have been that it was so close, that first one. I was like, oh, I'm almost there, I can get it. Yeah. But there were definitely adjustments I could have made in the setup and before the go and everything, or even on the go, like just cupping hard. That might have maybe not made a difference in the outcome as far as win-loss, like that I would have won the match, but might have made it look more competitive than it did, because again, with the way our moves kind of line up, if I really go to post hard and he gets his wrist to wrist on me, it's going to look like that 100 times out of 100. Yeah. So those are the learning things that I got from it, and it's so interesting, like not even noticing it in the match, but now like recapping it afterwards, how much like if we were aware of that in the moment, it could have maybe made the adjustments too, where you're like, he's doing exactly what I just did to Evan. This is what you want to do.
Yeah, I know.
In response, but. That's why you got to compete to learn. You can't think that you're going to go to competition and be the best guy there right off the bat, because it's about going through these losses to know what you need to work on to be able to improve, and even to know what to expect from the setup, from like what are the tricks the guy's going to play, and yeah. I'm like just over 2.5 years in, coming up on 3 years now, and Ian's coming up on 20 years. He's like 18 plus years into the sport. So even though he went through a bit of a lull of maybe not being at the top of his game, he's definitely got the experience, got the knowledge, and been doing the work recently to bring himself back to a pretty elite status. Yeah.
He showed it. Yeah. Practice is so much different than competing. Like, it's so much harder to be present in a match situation versus in a practice.
Yeah.
When you're present, that's when you can make all those adjustments, and you're able to listen to your cornerman because you're there in the moment.
That's such a good point. Yeah, that's such a good point.
Like, the experience of of competing helps you be present when you're competing, which allows you to make all those adjustments.
Well, and even now, like we're going to talk about what we're doing for training and stuff, and there's going to be some parts of the Toddzilla seminar coming up over the next week or so. But one of the points there is the whole max effort training, which is, again, I think what really relates to that, like, in the moment thinking, and I talk about this all the time. We talked about it with Bob Brown, and he tried to tell me I didn't know what I was saying, which I had to try to gently correct him and be like, no, unfortunately, that I do know what I'm saying. And this is the point of it, is that so much of max effort training is training your mind to be able to strain, like to be able to go and push your body at 100%, but still, like you just said, be present and in the moment. And that's very, very difficult to do. And again, even with arm wrestling, as much as the max effort training might help you get there in some way, shape, or form, the actual competition with the ref, with the stress of the people watching and the guy that whatever had some beef with that you got to arm wrestle now or some shit, like there's so many other tensions that can come into play that you really need to be able to control. And that's what makes the sport so much fun.
Yeah. So much fun. Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it.
We've got provincials in a week and a half now, next Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an amazing event. We're both going to compete. All of our teams going to compete.
Yeah, there's a ton of people.
Events in Ontario.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and I think we both feel pretty good. Like, none of us took. I took a beating that didn't cause too much damage. You gave a beating that didn't cause too much damage. Yeah. Neither of us after pulled too hard, so we're both feeling pretty fresh. So I think we're going to be pretty good to go. Right arm, my left arm is feeling almost back to like proper 100%. So I'm hoping for a good showing.
I'm not sure about my left.
Your left is still a little touchy, but either way. And then after provincials, we'll talk about what we're going to do for training for the rest of the summer and how we might be incorporating some of the Toddzilla seminar, because there was definitely a ton of really useful information from that seminar.
That seminar will be posting or be going up soon. So keep an eye out for that.
And I think that's it. Keep training hard. We'll see you guys in provincials. Until next time.
Like, comment, subscribe.
All those things.
And monkeys out.
Peace.